A new edition, Golden Lion Garages, 1962 Chrysler 300H. This is Ed and Angie's car. So, first thing we looked at when we opened the hood, we noticed that the heater lines are tied together and not connected to the heater valve. So, the first thing we're going to do is drain the coolant and get into this. Probably I'll pull the heater box off to inspect the core. But almost for sure, the reason they disconnected it was because the valve was leaking. And here we have the heater box removed. As you can tell, Ed's car was originally white. But one of the other things about this era Chrysler, under the heater box, there is a number. One of those secret numbers. Here is the heater box now that it's been removed. This has been painted black. They were never painted. They should be left natural. But they generally stain and age so bad that you have to do something, and so most people paint them black. You've got to be very careful on the removal of these things. Yeah, see, there's a crack right on this one because they want to stick to the body, especially if people have used filler instead of a gasket in order to get the seal. And then the removal, they just don't want to come off. So if you pry on them, you'll crack them. And even though Chrysler made millions of these, 60 to 64, there aren't that many left in salvage yards that are any good. So here's the heater core. This is an original, you can tell by the honeycomb. And I'll hook up some water to it. It looks like this one does not have any seep. Of course, it hasn't had any water through it for years. So we'll hook up water, we'll see if it's any good. These are the screws that I took out of the heater box. Some of them have these wings. They go along the bottom and they're used to trap the wires that run to the engine. And I also one of the vacuum lines. These have been painted black. Gee, I think they were natural. So before I install these, I will buzz them on the wire wheel and get them back to natural color and then apply some clear. There are 14 of these screws. They are 3/8 socket. I have checked the heater core for leaks, and there are no leaks, so I'm going to reuse it. This is the other side of the heater core box, and this still has an adequate gasket. But if you are in need of a gasket, Gary Gore's part number 464, 59 through 64 without air conditioning. So now we're going to start on the removal of the heater valve. Do it right there. And access is through the passenger compartment. So now looking at the interior, nice thing about the H, it's very easy to remove the seats They are not power in 62, and they are not swivel. So you can just yank the passenger seat, which is 4 bolts. And now you've got good access to the glove box area. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have to remove the lid. And then the glove box has got to come out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Phillips screws, and then a little bit of a rustle. So there we have the glove box out. This glove box was the original 50-some-odd-year-old glove box, and it dust disintegrated. It just tore, ripped. So, you know, we're going to get another glove box. They're certainly not that hard to get. And when it comes time for installation, you have to fold them in order to get them worked back up in here. So you might as well be folding new material rather than old stuff. And of course 62's got the complication of a fuse box. We'll deal with that, because now you can start to see the heater valve hidden by the windshield wiper mechanism, and in a convertible, in 62 at least, but I think most convertibles, they've got this extra large panel up in here for body support. And you can see there also is the Bowden cable for running it. And there's the Bowden. There is the clip, which was going to give us trouble. And the heater valve. And this is the capillary tube for the heater valve running to the heater box. We need to loosen that. Enough talk, let's get to work. And here you have the heater valve removed. It is retained on the outside by 2 Phillips head screws here and here, which you access from the engine compartment. And you can see, where is it? Where is it? There. That's probably what we had for leak. And it came out of Olga Corbett. I am not. There you go. Now you can see outside. But getting it out of that recess can be difficult if you pull out and elevate the back end of it. You won't be running into this brace. So I got my box of rebuilt heater valves. I use Joe Hudacek. He does a real good job. The Bowden cable, I tried lubricating it in place and I wasn't getting anywhere. So I removed it, and it is soaking with 3-in-1 oil. There it is. I'm going to let it hang there. And it's getting better. I'm sure it's the first time in 50 some odd years that it's been lubricated. So here's our old heater valve. It is a Renko H16. Well, there. And here's our new heater valve from Joe Hudacek. Also a Renko H16. And a visual comparison. Everything looks identical. So let's start with the installation. So today we're going to install the heater hoses. This is the correct routing for heater hoses. These are the correct style heater hose clips that should be on the inner fender. You can see they don't really have a screw attachment, just these upset prongs grab into the fender. So the one that's on the car is incorrect. This is what should be there, one of these. If you get them backwards on the heater valve will close at speed. So, take a minute, study your diagram, and go to work. One thing this car has that most of them are missing is this fender clip. I don't think that's the original. So I have new heater hoses installed. I have never liked how this hose is routed. In this position, it clears everything just fine. But when it gets warm, it'll start to sag and it'll start to wear on the air cleaners. So I buy this sort of heater hose bracket. This one came from Mega Parts. He's Dodge Boy on eBay. Yeah, no, I don't know, is it 16, 18 bucks? And I'm going to mount this and it becomes a heater hose bracket. I'll show you. And then that'll secure this thing so I don't have to worry about it chafing the air cleaner housings. There you go. What did that take? 3 minutes to install it? And look at the nice support and clearance that'll provide. It almost looks like it's factory. And if you don't like it, 3 minutes you can take it back off. And the temp gauge is coming up. The gasoline gauge is not. Of course I don't know how much gas is in it. Checking the heater. And there's no leaks from the new heater valve. It looks like that's ready to be buttoned up. We're looking at a passenger side seat for an H. And I wanted to show you some wooden shims that I have found on quite a few H's. You don't find them on an F or a G because the seats are so different. The F and G having the swivel seat, the H has just got a pedestal seat. But on far too many H's, not all the H's I've seen, but way too many, I find these blocks. They're on the outside frame rail And I think it was just an easy way that Chrysler could shim the seat to get the proper alignment. And so I use those as a template, and I've made new ones. And I did not find them on this car, but when I go to reassemble the seats, I will use these. So what are we doing today, Bob? I'm going to take the sill plates off, wash them, and polish them. So, let's just get cooking. There's nothing special about these particular sill plates, except that they're in good condition. They were the same 60 through 64. That we have not yet found anybody to make another batch of these, so yeah, I gotta use what you've got. Here's the sill plate removed. The rocker is super solid. And up here, I probably haven't shown it before, but that's where the vehicle ID tag is attached. That should not be painted red. And sill plate, real nice. And we'll get to work, give it a quick polish. So here we go again. Give these a buffing. We have already given them a wash. Here we go. There you go. 20 minutes. And I couldn't say it was as good as new, but it's certainly presentable. And we go on now to the passenger side. And here you go. Passenger side, cleaned and buffed.